Hi, in this video I'm gonna show you a simple way to bind loose single sheets printed at home into a practical book you can have in your bookcase. Welcome to Page Odyssey. There are many reasons to print and bind books at home. It can be availability. Sometimes the book is not in the language you want to read. Sometimes the book is out of print, or you just want to have a physical copy of a book you just have in digital. These are some examples I did in the past while learning this technique I'm going to show you in a minute. Well, the reason today is to print and bind a book that I found on Project Gutenberg called Bookbinding and the Care of Books. Like everything in Project Gutenberg, it's a notebook, but a very interesting one, and it fits perfectly in the subject of this channel. See you in the video. Whenever I start a new bookbinding project, the second thing I do after selecting the text is to retypeset the entire book. This way I can ensure clarity and professionalism when it's printed at home or on demand. This project was no different. I spent some time doing the layout of this book since it has a lot of images. Talking about the images, once again, we don't have a high-resolution images on Project Gutenberg, so I had to upscale each image using AI to achieve great smoothness and no pixelation. I also created a new half title and title page to go along with this private printed version. Now what I'm doing here is to prepare my workspace for the finishing press by placing two bricks that will work as risers, so I can place the book block sideways and work on the spine. After measuring with a single sheet, I can open the press and place the book block in it, and screw back to close the press to hold the book in place. I also did some tapping on the edges using a ruler, so all the sheets are well aligned on all sides. Next, I picked up a hacksaw and did 3 shallow cuts on the spine so I can place a thread inside the cut. Remember, we are not going to sew anything in here. Just place a thread. As you can see here, I did diagonal cuts, which I believe will hold the paper better instead of a 90-degree cut. Now it's time for the glue. There is no secret here. You just need to apply a generous amount of glue all along the spine so we can cover it entirely. With the glue still wet, place 3 threads in the cuts. It doesn't matter if there are leftovers. We are going to cut the excess later. Apply another layer of glue to hold it in place and let it dry overnight. In the next day, you can remove it from the press. Do a little inspection and cut the excess thread flush. And we are now ready to make the cover. For the cover, I used a black poster board, the ones we buy on a dollar store for school projects. They are easy to work with, but you can use a similar material if you have it available. Here you are not going to see the entire poster board. It was too big for my workbench and the camera site. But what I'm doing here is aligning the corner of the board with the book block, edge to edge, so I can start measuring. I traced a line in the edge, then I measured more precisely the thickness of the book block. After that, I marked where the spine would be, and the last step was to measure where the back of the book will be. After cutting the board, this is what we end up with. Now it's time to fold this cover 2 times to go around the spine. I use a ruler to help me with that. You don't need to fold too hard, a rounded crease will be enough. Now let's test our cover with the book block. Place it inside the cover and inspect if the measurements were fine. I aim to not need to trim the paper after the book is bound. In this next step, what I'm doing is to trace a line 7 millimeters from the fold. This is where we'll apply the glue to stick to the end papers of the book. You can use a folded paper guard to protect the rest of the cover, but if you are careful enough with a brush, you will not need it. Here, you will see myself applying the glue and realizing it was not enough to stick to the cover board. Just add more glue and hold it in place, pressing with something heavy. Now that the glue is dried, you already have your finished book. You can stop here if you want, but let me do two more steps. First, I'll add another fold in the opposite direction of the spine so it will work to release the pressure whenever you open your book. Do it on both sides. As a final touch, I created a label to stick to the front cover to identify the book. And there you have it, your single sheets book. If you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe and hit the like button. Check out my other video where I show how I built a bookbinding cradle with one piece of wood. See you in the next one.